Hey YouTube, Inside Jacob's Mind here. There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and me uploading a video every 6 months or so. And like Eminem, I am back after about half a year break to try and prove my relevance again. I don't know, who cares? Anyway, I figured I would review Kamikaze today because Eminem's always been something I've talked about a lot on this channel. It's been something... He's been a guy I've been a huge fan of since I was a kid, and he just dropped a surprise album a couple days ago, so I've been listening to it a lot, and I figured, why not do a review for it? Let's talk about it, talk about how I felt, and I didn't get the chance to talk about Revival, which he dropped last year, so here's a sort of dramatic reenactment of my thoughts real quick for you guys, just to sum it up. That was fucking dog shit, wasn't it? So yeah, let's never talk about that one again. Anyway, Kamikaze. When I first saw that it dropped, I was like, oh no. I saw there's a song from the Venom soundtrack on it, and I'm like, oh no, what are you doing? And so yeah, I went into this really, really worried, and I came out thinking, it's a great album. It's not his best. It's not going to restake him as the best rapper in the game, but it's actually quite a good album, and I am really, really enjoying it, and yeah, I'm going to talk about it. So I'm just going to do what I did last time when I talked about the Mantra Mothers LP2 and go song by song and give you my thoughts. So I hope you guys enjoy it. As soon as the ringer started, I knew we were in good hands with this one. This is a blistering track. I was a little worried at first because I'm like, did he just do it? But, you know, that stupid sound everyone does, I'm gonna do it. But then I'm like, wait, he's making fun of it. But, this is awesome. It's just 5 minutes of bars. There's no hook. It's just firing shots at everyone. He's attacking rappers like Migos and mumble rappers and shit. Little shots at Lil Pump and Lil Xan. And it's mostly just addressing the critical panning that his last album received, and he's on the warpath. There's a bit of reflection about what went wrong, but it's mostly just an attack on critics and stuff. And while I think they probably had good reason to pan Revival, this is all enjoyable shit. The wordplay here is top notch. The flow on this track is the best it's been in years, and it's definitely one of the best on the album. I'll give The Ringer a 9 out of 10. Now, it wouldn't be an Eminem album without a boast track about he's like the greatest rapper in the world. He does it every album. He always does it, and it's just a staple at this point. Now, I'm a bit conflicted on this one. The lyricism is good, the production's fun, and the disses are pretty good too. I'm just not a fan of the sing-songy chorus. He's like, greatest in the world, greatest in the world. It's kind of corny, and honestly, he's got a bit of nerve coming out and parading about how he's the greatest in the world after the trash fire that was Revival. I feel differently each time I listen to it. It's pretty good. It's one of the lesser tracks on this album, but honestly, 2 songs in, and this probably would have been better than everything on Revival, so, you know, it bodes well for the rest of it. Greatest gets a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Lucky You. Now, this is an inspired feature. Joyner Lucas. I've been a big fan of Joyner Lucas since I heard his song Ross Capiccioni a couple years ago. And so it's cool to see him collaborating with Eminem. And this is a great song. Their styles really mesh brilliantly. Eminem has the second verse, and he definitely sort of leans into Joyner's flow a bit. And it's just sort of 2 verses. They get 1 each. And there are some great contrasts between them aesthetically and lyrically. They talk about recognition and lack thereof, and how it's affected both artists, and you know, Eminem's success versus Joyner being relatively underrated at this point. And he also, you know, Eminem also disses mumble rappers a bit as he does on just about every track on this album, I think. But it's just awesome. It's got one of the best choruses on the album, and they both let loose with some really, really fast bars. Lucky You gets a 9 out of 10 from me also. One of the best tracks on here. Just quickly, I'll go over, there's a couple of skits, a couple Paul Rosenberg skits, and those have always been really funny, and I enjoyed the shit out of these one. The first one pokes fun at the absurdity of making an album to reply to people who didn't like the last album, and the second one takes it a bit further, having Eminem like track down one of the critics who didn't like Revival and track him down. Now, That is what a lot of this album is about, addressing people who didn't like Revival and going after them. So it is kind of going after me as well, because I fucking hate that album. It is one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever heard. But, you know, what can I say? He's having fun. He's got an aggression and an urgency that he hasn't had in years, and I'm really, really enjoying this album. Normal. This is definitely the song that's grown on me the most on repeat listens, and with another staple of an Eminem album, this one falls under the toxic relationships category. Normal's a lot of fun. He's definitely taken some inspiration from people like Drake when it comes to the flow, like it's sort of kind of low key, and he sort of changes the tone of his voice a lot, and the low notes he hits, they're kind of satisfying. Especially, I'd really like the chorus in this one, but it just feels like classic Eminem goofing around and rapping about a bitch who did him wrong. I don't know, there's what he's done in recent years, he's sort of critiquing himself a little bit more than he used to, which is good. It's definitely nowhere near as good as his old stuff, you know, back when he had real problems to rap about. But I really, really enjoy Normal. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Stepping Stone. Now, out of all the songs on Kamikaze, Stepping Stone is probably the one that closely resembles the Eminem of old. It kind of has some Toy Soldiers vibes with the emotional beats it hits. It feels like a song straight off the Eminem show. It's great. It's emotional. His flow is fantastic. The beat is subtle enough. And it talks about how Proof's death affected D12, the ripple it sent through their group, and how they never really recovered from it. And he's apologizing that he can no longer carry the group because the spark just isn't there. And the last line of the last verse definitely hits hard. It's not goodbye to our friendship, but D12 is over. I think this is the best track on Kamikaze. I absolutely love it. You know, it's got that level of emotion that Eminem has been lacking for the last decade, and it's honestly the closest thing I've heard to 2000 to 2004 Eminem since 2004. Stepping Stone is fantastic. 9.5 out of 10. Best song on Kamikaze. Not alike. Now, I guess Eminem felt like he hadn't gone after modern day rappers enough, so he's dedicated an entire track to it here. He did a similar thing on Revival with Chloroseptic, but fortunately, Not Alike is actually pretty good. Machine Gun Kelly cops a fair bit in this one, and the highlight's the chorus where he mimics the shitty trap beat and flow that everyone seems to use nowadays, and he just starts listing a bunch of random words. Out of all the shots he fires on the album, this, The Ringer, and Fall probably have the strongest disses. The ones where they actually feel kind of authentic and make sense, rather than just old man yelling at kids, which honestly, there's a lot of that on this album too. But Not Alike gets a 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. And Royce to 5'9" features, and he nails it as well. Everything him and Eminem do together is gold. Kamikaze. Kamikaze is definitely a mixed bag of a track. It definitely embodies the spirit of the album. For the most part, it's full of good lyrics, and it has a nice splash of self-awareness where he compares Revival to Fack, which is pretty much his most hated song of all time. Just a throwback to my friend Jaron, when we did a video of our favorite Eminem songs on here, he put Fack in his top 10 best Eminem songs, and that's just something that makes me laugh. Shout out to you, Jaron. Love you, buddy. In the spirit of Kamikaze, though, this song basically just says that Eminem's going to release what he wants to release, whether people like it or not, and he's going to go down with it. He's going to, die with his ship. I love a lot of what this song represents, but aesthetically it's really not the best, and the hook is really, really cheesy, and he brings back that sort of fack vocal tone, and it's you probably should have just let it die. So I'm going to give Kamikaze a 6 out of 10. Love what it represents. Great lyrics, but just kind of wacky in the execution. That's where it kind of lets it down. Fall. This is definitely a highlight of the album. It's caused a bit of controversy over Eminem's diss toward Tyler, the Creator, and I'll get to that in a minute. Fall's another hit out to the critics, which is that's a moot point at this point, because that's basically what this whole album is. But it's also addressing some beefs, though instead of just complaining on this one, Eminem uses Fall to express how relevant he still is to the culture. Showing that, he's still important, and he built a lot of what we have today, and it's kind of hitting back at a lot of rappers who shit talked a rival. Again, they probably had the right to shit talk a rival, but I guess, you know, you diss Eminem, you can diss you back. That's just how rap works, I suppose. So yeah, while that shit talk's warranted, Eminem has a lot of firepower in this track, and it's definitely one of the best on the record. So he came under fire for calling Tyler, the Creator, a faggot in this song. The word's bleeped, but fairly strongly implied. It is unfortunate that Eminem's still using the word in 2018, you know. I think I've found myself, I've stopped using that word a lot. You could probably find me using it in some of my old videos. I was a bit of an asshole, but yeah, it's a shame that Eminem still kind of resorts to that, but there is context to it, and it comes as a part of a relatively strong bar of him hitting back against Tyler, the Creator, for some shit he said about the song Walk on Water, which, to be fair, wasn't a great song. But, you know, it just talks about him being sacrilegious and having been a big advocate of Eminem and then coming out and shit talking him. So, while I don't necessarily agree, there's some good lyrics there. It's not a great moment, but it's a minor strain on what I think is a really, really good track, and definitely has one of the best beats on the album. Fall gets an 8.5 out of 10 from yours truly. Thank God. If this were as bad as Nice Guy, I'd probably kill myself all over again. In all seriousness, I get what Nice Guy was going for. This song kind of makes it better in retrospect, and how it was kind of poking fun at toxic masculinity and stuff, and it did have some good lyrics, but honestly, it was unlistenable. The chorus is like nails on a chalkboard, and it's a song I'm definitely going to be skipping from now on. Thankfully, Good Guy is much better. It hits on some genuine pathos with a beautiful and sample and beat, and awesome rhymes flowing throughout. I'm not really sure entirely what it's about. It could be about a number of things, but it once again touches on those themes of a broken relationship, but this time with a kind of more optimistic spin, and he contrasts beautifully with Jessie Reyes' vocals in the chorus. They were dreadful in Nice Guy, but she's actually really good on this one, so I don't know what happened there. But this is definitely one of Eminem's better songs about love in recent years. Good Guy gets an 8 out of 10 from me. It's another one that really grows on you the more you listen to it. Venom. Now, of course, he's done a song for the Venom soundtrack. Now, this is kind of one of the weakest songs on the album, and the idea of it is kind of annoying. It's like, hey, I'm selling out and doing a song for a big blockbuster movie. It's probably going to be shit. I didn't really like the Southpaw song he did either. So yeah, it's kind of... it does leave a bad taste in your mouth, the fact that it exists, but I actually did kind of like this. When I paid more attention to the lyrics on repeat listens... is it me or did it just get darker in here? Anyway, when I paid attention to the lyrics more on repeat listens, there's actually a lot of good shit in this one, especially in the third verse. Eminem makes a connection between himself and the character of Venom, in his self-destructive behaviors and his demons, coupled with the fact that he's always been portrayed as kind of a supervillain in the media, corrupting the youth. As one of the last lines says, Eddie Brock is you, and I'm the suit. I kind of hated the chorus at first, but it grew on me like a tumor. I can't help but sing along, like, Venom, 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 they ain't gonna know what hit 'em. I don't know, it's just kind of enjoyable. The song's not great, it's kind of angsty, but, you know, as far as Eminem songs for movies go, it's alright. 7 out of 10 for Venom. So yeah, that's it for my song review, and here are my final thoughts on Kamikaze. Kamikaze is exactly what Eminem needed. It's not a fantastic album. It's definitely his best since Marshall Mathers LP2. I'd probably put it just below that and just above stuff like Recovery and Relapse. Kicks the shit out of Revival. Let's never talk about that album again. 77 minutes of pure, unadulterated pain. But yeah, Kamikaze, I was surprised by how much I liked it. I've been listening to it on repeat for the last couple of days. there's very few bad tracks. I think Nice Guy is the only track that's genuinely bad. There are some mediocre and problematic ones, and I'd say there's 3 or 4 fantastic ones. Stepping Stone is just up there with Bad Guys, one of the best songs he's made in the last 10 years or so. So yeah, that's Kamikaze. Came out of nowhere, made me very happy as an Eminem fan. Yes, I'm still an Eminem fan. I know it's very popular to hate him these days, and that's very fair enough, you know. He's definitely said a lot of stupid shit and made a lot of bad songs lately, so it's definitely well within your rights to hate him, but give this album a chance, because I know there's a lot of people who are just going to dismiss it without even listening to it. Give Kamikaze a chance. It's actually pretty damn good. It definitely does still have some of his worst tendencies, but yeah, I really liked it, and I hope, because I thought Revival was nail in the coffin. I thought that he was fucking done after that, but this gives me a little bit of hope, and I hope he can make something as good as this in the coming years, or whatever he decides to do, because say what you will about Eminem, he is one of the best lyricists of all time, and he, I don't know if I would say he proved that here. I don't know if it was a complete success. Like, the hitbacks of the critics are kind of whiny, and but he just showed that he's still got it. He's still got it. He can still flow with the best of them. So I quite enjoyed Kamikaze. If I had to put a number on it, I'd probably give it like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I quite liked it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for still being here. You know, if you're someone who's been watching me since like the 2012, 2013 days, I had a lot of fun in those days, back when my videos actually got views, and I did rants and tried to call people out and stuff. And yeah, thanks for being here still, even though I'm not really doing rants anymore, but basically just, I'm not an angry person nowadays. When I started this channel, I was around 15, 16. I was very sort of like, fuck the world, fuck this shit, religion's fucking gay, fuck you. Yeah, I think I've matured as a person a bit since then. Yeah, if I did a rant, it would feel kind of disingenuous. Shit still makes me angry, and you know, you'll get to hear me yell when I do my worst movies of the year video at the end of the year. But yeah, I've just kind of shifted in who I am as a person, but I haven't given up on this channel. If inspiration hits, I'll upload. But yeah, just thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I definitely had a great time back in the old days doing rants and stuff. It's just not me now. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day. Peace out.